Hello everyone. As part of this demo, I'll first do an architectural overview of OutSystems before proceeding on to do a demo of the application later in this presentation. Okay. So as part of OutSystems, as part of any enterprise application landscape, right? There are going to be a lot of different systems in a typical enterprise landscape. Systems don't exist in silo, especially not in the enterprise space. Okay, so you will typically have your cloud services like your Google login, your Dropbox, your Facebook. You will have your codes, be it in traditional systems or be it in the cloud. You will have your enterprise systems, your COTS product like your SAP, Salesforce, or your Oracle, or even your PeopleSoft backend. Then, of course, you have your databases where that stores your data from in your enterprise, right? So enterprises are um, are faced with the challenge of having to integrate all these systems, and where does our systems come in? Okay, so the disparate tech and systems are all integrated visually in the OutSystems platform using visual programming language. When it comes to data, if you require us to integrate with your databases, we can either the uh, the design and the management of the database is actually of the OutSystems database is actually done visually. If you require, OutSystems can also integrate with external databases to pull in data as and when is needed. Um, okay, your processes are the processes that comes in to also link up all your different systems together. So typically you may have a order management system, a workflow in our systems, and eventually this order flows to SAP or Oracle or Salesforce. And as you can see from my presentation, it's also done visually. Okay. Of course, you have your logic layer. Again, this is done visually in OutSystems where you are able to drag and drop many of the functions and create your business layer in OutSystems. Okay. And of course, from a UI point of view, OutSystems is able to not only integrate but able to display and pull out information and display it to the end user. Okay. Again, you realize that it's a what you see, what you get kind of a visual programming language. Okay. Okay, so not only can OutSystems bring all these things, systems together and create and integrate all these systems and create an application visually using visual programming language. It also takes care of your whole DevOps process. So with one click of the button, you are able to deploy, verify, and govern the application. So deploy means that it will actually push the codes out to IIS and is able to update your database. Not only that, it is able to verify that the codes that you push out will not create broken dependencies that will or database updates that are missing, for example. So it's able to verify that the code is actually working. And of course, you are able to govern the DevOps process in the sense that who can publish to production, who can publish to UAT and stuff like that. Okay, so so not only can OutSystems do the publishing to close the loop, OutSystems also out of the box allows you to capture feedback, to monitor the apps. Are there errors being thrown? What's the performance? What's the load speed of the app? And from then on, you can better manage your apps. Okay, so this is the continuous iteration process that OutSystems provide. Okay. So is there any questions so far? If not, I will stop here to give you guys a demo on the platform. So the first thing in my demo, what I will show is actually an order management system that is built on a reactive web app. So reactive web app is actually a new technology that was released by OutSystems towards the end of 2019. Okay, so what reactive web app does is that it actually gives I mean for end user, what does it mean is that it gives it a more native feel, that a more things will feel a lot smoother when it comes to page transitions, page load, and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to first log in as a sales representative for this order management system. So this order management system basically, what it does is it manages orders to customers. Whenever you have a new sales, you are supposed to do an order for that particular customer. Okay, so I'm going to log in as a sales representative, right, to be able to go in. Okay, I'll first go into give a overview of this particular um, order management application. Um, so behind this particular order management is actually a Salesforce and SP system. But it can be anything else, right? If you have your own COTS product that does billing and invoicing and stuff like that, you can use them. If not, actually, you can actually, we have customers that actually build end to end within our systems. Okay, so on top of this back end systems, we do have our own tables that we store data of which we are the master data, like supplier and pricing and stuff, and product catalog and stuff like that. Okay, and on top of that, actually, there's two main parts to this application. One is actually the order management page that I'm in currently. That's the reactive order management page. The other one, I will show you later as part of my demo, is the approval process, in which the manager can either choose to approve within this application, or you can choose to approve in the mobile app. Okay, um, so this is in a nutshell the order management system that I am going to demo today. Okay. So as you come in, you realize that the first thing that greets the end user is a beautiful dashboard. So there are people that ask, hey, can COTS product sorry, can a low code platform build beautiful things, right? Or is it everything is very fixed, very standard? Is it customizable to my branding? Is there a lot of restrictions to what it can or cannot do? So the good news here is that this particular dashboard that you see here is perfectly customizable. You can change the data, you can change the layout, you can change the look and feel. So there's nothing cast in stone here. And it can create beautiful things. So it doesn't have to look ugly in that sense. Okay, so once we log in, a beautiful dashboard actually greets the end user, and we are able to see some charts and category, sales category, but it can be anything based on your business requirement, and of course it can be something personalized to this particular end user, or it can be something more generic with regard to a team goal. Okay, so of course there's a call to action here for the user to create a new order. Okay, so as you scroll down, I'll just take this opportunity to show some of the widgets that is out of the box available in our systems. So you have things like your carousel that you can actually view different picture-based lists. Okay, you have your list of orders, your tabs, right, where you're able to see a list of orders and opportunities related to this particular user. Okay, and of course you have your top performance in this particular company. Okay, so this is the dashboard in a nutshell. But again, I must stress that this thing is fully customizable and built to order based on your business requirements. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I will show is actually a list page. List pages are very common in any enterprise system. They typically come with a call to action, some filters on top, and the actual list below. So in our systems, you can filter filter by text, okay, company name, or You can okay, you can filter by the company name or so whereas that because it's reactive, the page actually responds very quickly. Um, so obviously you have your on the fly some custom filters based on your amounts, and some status filters at the bottom. Okay, so so typically when you click into a you click into a detail item, you go into the detail and you are able to view some of the details of this particular order. Okay, I'll come back to this page later. Okay, um, I'll show you next catalog management. So this is actually just another way to display a list. So if your list has something visual like an image, then actually you can create display a list in a kind of grid format, something a bit more interesting to the eye. Okay, but again, your filters on top and stuff like that do come in as well. Okay, so so if I had to click into one of the products, this particular design gives the product detail on top and some of the related information below, like some of the orders, recent orders of this particular product. Okay, and of course I can edit this information to as and when it's needed. Okay, so so that is for this particular item. Okay, I won't go into detail in each of the rest of the list screens because they are quite standard. Um, okay, basically some standard list screens with filters on top, depending on the needs of the particular screen. Okay, so I'll go ahead to actually create an order in this particular demo. Okay, so I'll just click on the opportunity. Okay, and I'll click on the opportunity. Okay, and I will create a new order for this opportunity. Okay. Okay, so basically this particular opportunity, I will come in, I will say to say, hey, I have a new opportunity from this particular customer, and I will add in the product that this customer has ordered. Maybe he has ordered electric filter, he wants 10 units, I will give him a 10% discount. I realize that things change on the fly on the page because of the reactive web application technology is able to do this on the client side without going back to the server side. But of course, we can do certain validation when it goes back to the server. Okay, so when I save, okay, so it appears here. I'm gonna just create one more item. I want another 9 units, and I'm gonna give you also a 10% discount. Okay, I'm gonna do a save. Okay, so basically it shows realize that there's very little lag time between the animations as well as the display on the screen, and this is one of the big draws of RWA technology. Okay. Okay, so after I'm done, I can either print the order out. So this particular print order actually converts this to a PDF if I need to. Okay, so okay, so this is just a PDF generation that is quite common in our systems. Okay, or I can actually submit for approval. Okay. Okay. So at this particular point, I've submitted for approval and waiting for manager's approval. I'm going to so as part of out of the box, what you get when you actually purchase OutSystems is that you also actually get a BPM engine backend. So there is an engine that is running backend that allows you to track your process, and it's able to give you visibility of what's happening and audit that process back end where you can actually see, currently I'm actually waiting for my manager to approve this particular order. Okay, so this gives you actually visibility of your process. Okay, so I'm going to log in as a manager. Okay, I'm going to log in as a sales manager. Okay, right? Realize that when it comes to sales manager, actually the dashboard is slightly changed. Instead of personal goal, I have a team goal and I have a company goal. Okay, so but by and large, the information are still quite similar throughout. Okay, so as you come here, realize that there's this badge here that the manager can actually see to click in. Okay, and he can actually choose to approve or reject this particular order. Okay, so I will. So if the manager chooses to use the mobile phone, I'll actually show you my mobile phone now, and how a manager can actually approve this particular order on the mobile. Okay, so let me just stop. So after the representative has actually raised the order and is pending approval by the sales manager, what will happen is that actually the system will actually do a push notification to the manager. Um, this is through Firebase push notification. So the manager will be notified that on the move, when it's on the move, that hey, this order needs to be approved. So when the manager clicks on this particular order, he'll be brought into this particular app. Okay. So if it's his first time into the app, there may be some there can be some instructions on how can we use this particular um, application. So you can swipe right to reject, swipe left to approve. Okay, and let's get started. And there can be some pin code to approve, or you can easily do a Face ID. Okay, to go in. Okay, so realize that the order that I submitted just now, it actually appears on the dashboard. Where the manager can either do a swipe right to swipe left to reject, and swipe right to approve, or if I require to see more information, I can actually go in to see the detail of this information and what is the actual product that is part of this order. And from this point onwards, he can actually approve or reject at the bottom, or he can go back to swipe right or swipe left to approve and reject. Okay, so I'm going to approve this order. Okay, swipe all the way, I'm going to approve it, and the order has been approved. Okay, so this is a very simple application for order approval, and this particular order approval will actually be sent back to the server, and the Patricia will be able to continue with the order management. Okay. After the manager approves the order, when Patricia logs in, he will be able to see that the order has been approved. So we can actually, if you go back, remember we go back to the process just now, you can see that actually the order has moved onwards, and we have sent the email, and now we are waiting for Patricia to close the order. Okay, so when I come in, there is actually a signature needed that the customer need to sign before the order is closed. So what Patricia comes in to do is that he can actually do a signature signing. Okay, on the either on the iPad or on the web itself. Okay, so after I submit, it will be actually sent to SAP for invoicing, and it will be closed. Okay, after a while. Okay, so this is the order management application on RWA. Okay. So now, after showing you the order management page, I'm going to make some changes to this order management application to just show you how the back end is like and how a change is done to this particular program. Okay, so I'm going to show you from my screen. So Okay, so this what you see on your screen is actually the OutSystems Service Studio. This is actually, it's a bit like it actually replaces your Visual Studio so this is a bit like the OutSystems Development Studio, where developers come in to do their development work. Okay, so as you come in, you realize that the first thing that you see is actually on the top right hand corner, there are actually four tabs: data, logic, interface, and process. I'm going to go through tab by tab just to give you an overview of how things are done in OutSystems, starting from the data tab. Okay. So actually, if you come into the data tab, you actually see that that there is actually a relational database diagram that is being drawn. This is actually a true reflection of the actual database tables that will actually be created back end in either MS SQL or Oracle. Okay, so this is in contrast to some other products where the data that is stored is actually a black box, right? And you don't know how the data is stored, how things are related. And next time when you need to read the data, it's very difficult to extract and read the data. Okay, so OutSystems doesn't use any proprietary database. It uses standard databases like Oracle and MS SQL, which means that after OutSystems store data and into the databases, you are free to use any third-party database connection or analytics tool for you to be able to assess your data. Okay, so as you come in, you realize that things are normalized. They can be normalized. So best practices and when it comes to database design still apply here. So actually, if you click into any of the databases, you realize that you are able to declare different types of objects like tags, foreign keys, delete rule, whether it's the protect rule or delete rule or ignore rule. Okay, so you are able to do indexing, create indexes that will allow you to make sure that performance is database performance and query performance is still kept up to standard. Okay, so in that sense, OutSystems actually helps you to manage your databases. You no longer have to deal with migration scripts. You no longer have to deal with database update scripts. Okay, so the developer actually don't touch the database. They only do this declaration in OutSystems, and OutSystems handles the rest for you, for the developer. Okay, so that's with regard to the entity database layer. Okay. Um, okay. So if I were to move on to the logic layer, what you see here is client action and server action. So this is actually peculiar to reactive web application that allows you to have both actions. So it's a bit like MVC on both sides, where you can declare client actions that do certain things, certain logic that applies. So it means that you will not have any network overheads when this function is being called. Okay, server action means that it's run on the server side. So this actually allows you to come in to visually create logic inside this functions. Okay, so these are server side actions, and of course you are able to call external integrations API like SOAP, API REST, as well as direct BAPI calls using SAP. Okay, I'm going to do a demo later on the REST API, so I'll come back to this later. Okay. So let's move on to the interface. Remember the dashboard that we showed just now? Everything is again created by the developer visually, where you drag and drop things from the left to the right, and you are able to see how does it look like on different screens. Okay, so when the developer develops the screens, he is able to make sure that it fits nicely, right, into different aspect ratio. Okay, different form factors. Sorry. Okay, so finally you have your fourth tab here, which is your BPM processes. This is where your just now remember what we showed in the pop-up, where you can actually trace your the workflow and exactly an audit or workflow. The developer also visually develops that particular workflow, where he can say that in this particular workflow after order approval, if it's approved, go ahead. If it's not approved, go back to resubmission, and and so on and so forth. So out of the box, you are able to do business process monitor design straight in our systems. Again, using a visual language. Of course, you have your timer's batch job that allows you to do things like send notifications after a certain duration and stuff like that. Okay, so this is for the process tab. Okay, next I'm going to attempt to make a fast change in the system. So I will do two things. The first thing I will do is I will actually create a dashboard to show you how do we create a simple dashboard in OutSystems. So let's say, for example, the IT the business user requires me to create a dashboard for orders, for example. So if I were to go in, so what the developer will do is that he will attempt to add a new screen. Okay, and as you add sheet, there are actually some templates that OutSystems has created in advance for you. So they are a bit like PowerPoint templates that you can use to quickly scaffold um, your information. So in this particular case, that we are going to use the transaction dashboard that will allow us uh, to display certain information with regard to orders. Okay, so I'm going to change the name to orders dashboard, and I'm going to create the screen. Okay, so it create a actual screen on the page for you. Of course, you can choose not to use a template and just have start from a blank slate, and that's perfectly fine as well. Okay, so that's not too different from your normal PowerPoint concept. Okay, so now that the order dashboard, you realize that it is actually being created here. Okay, so this is something that OutSystems has created for you. So they actually, um, so this is obviously not what we want to load. They actually use some template data backend to draw this. So we want to change this to orders, for example. So we want to change the name to. So we realize that it's a what you see, what you get kind of change, right? So for this particular page, what we're going to do is that we are going to go to our orders table and just drag these orders out and replace the data. Instead of transaction, we want to actually display order. Okay, so so what else will do is that it will actually create the order for you, and let's just change this to orders this month, for example. Okay, so so we have to change this information as well. We want to change this to the orders table and last 7 days of orders. Okay, so obviously you want to change this table as well. We don't want to show transaction, we want to show orders. Okay, so again I drag out and I replace this data with order. Okay, so OutSystems replaces them for them, and the title is changed automatically here. Okay, so and this page is good to go. Okay, obviously you want to create give them um, give the then some form of navigation here. So if you just to drag this and you want to allow them to come straight to the orders dashboard. Okay, to be able to view it. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll change. I'll publish this later. The next thing I will actually create is actually what we have called a supplier. Let's say, for example, there's a need for us to do a list page and a detail page of a supplier to manage a supplier information. So what again I will do is that I'll do a right click. Okay, I'll add a screen. So instead of using the transaction dashboard page, what we will do is we will actually use the list page, okay, for us to a list with filter page for us to display the information of the suppliers. So I'm going to go ahead and create the screen. Okay, so it's a bit, it's again scaffolding and creating the screen and stuff like that. Okay, so so obviously I need to change this to suppliers, this page here. Okay, suppliers. Okay, so so we don't want to show requests, we want to show a list of suppliers. So obviously I will go to my database, I'll look for my supplier information, and I will drag the information out and replace the data with supplier. Okay, so so I realized that after I drag it out, OutSystems automatically detected that there's a problem here because supplier doesn't have this field called the high, low, and medium. There just isn't such a field. So instead of having this priority, what we're going to do is we're going to change this to a supplier rating. So I'm going to again drag this out, okay, and replace it with supplier rating, and it goes green. Okay, it shows that no more error. You are good to publish. Okay, so so other than supplier, it's no good just viewing. I want to be able to see a detailed view. So I'm going to do a right click. Okay. Okay. I'm going to link to a new page, right? So we're going to do a new screen because it's a simple screen, and this screen we can either do a fresh template or we can use a detailed screen as a as a start. So we have a supplier detail. Okay, so we're going to do a start the screen, and it actually creates a supplier detail screen. Okay. Okay. So obviously I have a supplier ID here that I need to pass in, and instead of having all this information, what I want to do is I want to replace it with the supplier information. Okay, so replace with supplier instead of having a generic request. Okay, so obviously I don't need a sample. Okay, I don't need a sample supplier ID. I can actually delete this. Okay. So actually what we need to pass in is it detects, is this page requires an ID, I need to pass in the ID. Okay, so just to clean it up, and you realize that, voila, okay, we have actually a detailed page that actually tells us this is the supplier, this is the website, this is the phone number, and this is the start date of the supplier. Okay, so if I will go to the save function, you realize that, okay, what we need to do is to be able to create a supplier. So call a function called create supplier, create or update supplier, and we pass the information in. Okay, and we put a message there. Okay, sorry, put a message there to say that information updated. Okay, just to do a feedback, tell the user that it has been successful. Okay, give it a green. Okay, so this is a supplier information. So, but obviously the information on this page, you may want to make some changes. Instead of just website, I want to show the address. So let me drag the address out so you are able to see the address field here as well. Okay. Okay. So let me just change this. Okay. So a very just now I promised that I will actually show a very fast integration, API integration of how do we do an integration with a third-party system. And I'm going to show it to you now. So a very common use case is that, I don't want to type my address. I want to put in a postal code where I put in a postal code and address comes out automatically. So to do that, we have to integrate with a third-party service. So what I have here in advance is that I have, so one map is actually the Singapore government website that actually allows you to call API, pass in the postal code, and it returns you the address. So if you were to copy one of this API, okay, you will be able to use this API and so that and exchange a postal code for address. So if I were to copy this, okay, and I were to go back to our systems, okay, I'll go to this REST API place. I'll do a consume. Okay, consume REST API. What I will do is that I will say I want to consume a single method using the API specs that we performed just now. We are going to put paste the URL. This is a bit like Postman, not too different. Okay, I'm going to put in a test code. Okay, let's see. So information comes back. The API is successful. Tells me that this particular postal code is actually this particular address. I'm going to copy this to the response body, and I'm going to create my API point. So from this particular point onwards, this particular function that is calling an API is just like any other OutSystems function that you pass in something and take out something. So you can actually just use it like it is any function. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create put in a box, an input box. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call it. Okay, I'm going to call it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to call it a postal code. Okay. So let me just lay this out properly. We copy and paste. So let's just change this label to. Let's just change it to postal code. Okay. So obviously we cannot link. We have to link to a variable backend. So what we will do is that we will just have a local variable. We don't need to store this. Okay, and we're gonna call this local variable a postal code. Okay, which is just a text. So what we do here is that, let me just lay this out. Okay, so you realize that each of these layouts, even the layout CSS is done visually. So you technically don't need much CSS knowledge if you want to use this visual editor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that we want to be able to type in a postal code here and the address appears automatically before I save the function. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on change, right? Okay, so this is a kind action, right? So on change, I'm going to check, right, if the postal code is 6-digit, right? Because if it's less than 6-digit, I don't want to call the API, right? So length of postal code is equals to 6, right? Only when it's equals to 6, so we just do a is correct length, right? So you can do your documentation here. Okay, if it's true, we want to call the API. If it's false, we just exit and do nothing. Okay. Okay. So if it's correct length, we want to call the API. So what we do here is that we just like any other OutSystems server functions, right? We just drag this out. Okay, and we pass in a postal code. Okay, and this particular function returns us a set of results, and I'm going to just assign, okay, assign this the result to our function, right, to our supplier address function, right, and that will automatically okay update that function back, okay, into. So we're going to do the address view. Just put in the address view. Okay. So after this is done, the address will be updated automatically, and you can do a save. Okay. So we just do a publish. Okay. So just to recap, we created a dashboard. We created a dashboard, and we created a suppliers and suppliers detail page that okay, so that allows us to see that information. Okay, so let me just show you so actually whatever I've done just now. So let me just show you this. So as I publish, right, what happens is that it uploads a version of that code into the server. It generates, after it uploads, it opens up that package and generates your .NET codes, your DLLs and stuff. It updates the database, right, before it finally deploys into IIS. Okay, so with a button click, you actually have your CI there, continuous integration set up to push to server, and it's ready to serve out as a web page. Okay, so I'm gonna again log in as Patricia to be able to see a list of my on my order dashboard, and if I will click my order dashboard, okay, so realize that all the information appears. Okay, so and you are ready to use it and deploy this as and when it's needed. Okay, so if you want to actually view the next thing that I did was the suppliers. So I didn't do the link here, but you can easily create a link on top. So this is a suppliers page that we created just now here. Okay, so this suppliers page, if you were to add supplier or you were to click in, you realize that there's this postal code here. You are able to save and update. So let me just try to change the address. Okay, realize that you have to be 6-digit before it changes. Okay, yeah, it changes. So this is how it goes to one map, takes the API and updates the information. I'm going to save. Okay, so and if I were to go back, okay, and come back in, realize that the information is actually persists inside the information actually persists inside the page. Okay. So that is the end of my demo for order management. I'll take this opportunity to also show you lifetime. Okay, so just now we mentioned that it is not just about development and deployment, it is also about the whole lifecycle management of OutSystems. So lifetime is actually a management layer module that allows us to manage deployments. So this is a demo environment. Obviously, I only have development and production, but standard normally you will have deployment, UAT, and production. So you just now I deployed some things. You can actually search for your apps, okay, and do your deployments across the one I published. You can actually choose to deploy it, okay. So what OutSystems does is that it allows you to promote code from one environment to another, and all this access control can be managed by access control, your DevOps process. So you can say that only DevOps can, only certain people can have the rights to deploy codes to production. Okay, so let me just do a order management. If I were to validate, it actually checks that you cannot push this code out without pushing some other codes, related codes. So it will actually warn you to say that if there are related codes that needs to be pushed out as well, it will warn you that you need to push out. If not, then you can continue to push it to production. Okay, so the next thing, the last thing I will show you is actually analytics. So this is the other big part of OutSystems lifetime, where you are able to come into the analytics page and be able to see for each application, how is the performance doing. If I were to click in, will I be able to I am able to drill down to see this particular page, what is the general performance, how many people have, what is the page hit like, and what is the performance over a period of time. Are there a lot of slow responses, or are there a lot of high fast responses? And if you want to drill down even further, you can actually see that of this slow response, is it a client issue, is it a network issue, or is it a server issue? So you are able to see how long the request things. So in this particular case, it seems like the server is taking a bit more time. So that may be the place we want to take a look at how we can customize some of our server actions, be it API calls or be it queries, database queries that can be sped up, or is it a database specs thing that we need to improve? Okay, so this gives you the overview, um, uh, matrix of how your apps are performing. Okay.